Hey, Shalom, Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Rakar double honor to the apostle, elders, a great millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. Um, just in transit, coming back, another quick lesson, Lord's will is edifying. And just, I just want to, speak a couple words and grab a couple scriptures. Just pertaining to my overall experience and my overall understanding, as far as this world and when certain things present themselves to you in this world, and realizing in that presentation that certain things are trials, certain things that the Lord gives to you, He tests you with certain things, and you always got to remember what the end game is at the end of the day, okay? Because certain things, like as far as I'm just speaking on like financial situations, right? Certain things are going to pop up where it's going to be for your betterment. It seems as though, and it's going to, ultimately, put more money in your pocket whenever the opportunity presents itself, to put more money in your pocket and to make your overall situation, better, But in that, you can't, you got to kind of stop. Not kind of, you got to stop and you got to realize and you got to always make sure what's in the forefront of your mind, what's priority is, because, as the scripture said, I'm going to get, matter of fact, I'm going to get that, but I want to grab this first. Salakia, bear with me, I'm in transit, but I'm still going to get it. It says 1 Corinthians 7:31. It says, and they use this world. I'm gonna start up. It says, and they that weep as though they weep not. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at 29. 1 Corinthians 7:29 says, but this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none. It's pertaining to this ministry. When you come into this thing, man, you're gonna realize that it's it's extremely time consuming. When you serving the Lord, you got to put aside not only as long as other things that you were accustomed to doing or may have liked doing or investing so much time in, and this is speaking about your woman, your wives, what's being said is Paul saying right here, it's like, listen, you're gonna be as you gotta be as you don't have none. Meaning that the time that you spent, prior to this truth with her is gonna be less. Now granted there's always balance to it because you got responsibilities, brothers got families, they got kids. It's just you gotta find that balance point. You know what I'm saying? So, continuing on, it says, and they that weep as though they weep not. It says, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not. It says, and they that buy as though they possess not. Because all in all, what's going to happen is, man, it's going to come a point in time where, like, listen, all of these, the weeping, the rejoicing, and, the possessions is just going into, things pertaining to this world, Is when you indulge too much into this world, a lot of things come with this world. You got to remember the scripture says, rise and depart, this isn't your rest, okay? So you can't, you can't get caught up and too comfortable in the position that you are in. Because you got to realize, all this stuff is the elements are going to be melted with fervent heat. This stuff, everything is going to be gone, okay? And it's verse 31. It says, and they use this world as not abusing it. It says, for the fashion of this world passeth away. So you're here now. Back to my original point. In this world, you want to be presented with certain things, And like as the scriptures say, a lot of these things the Lord will present to you to see how you gonna act and see what you're gonna do. You're gonna fall off. He give you something. He give you an abundance of certain things. You're gonna fall off. You're gonna put more time into that. you know, or keep your integrity and remain within this within the body. And all in all, that's up to the Lord. It's either He keep the spirit on you or He don't. But when those things present themselves, you always got to remember, like, you always, hey, listen, it's about prioritizing in this thing, man, and realizing what's important. What are we looking for? Because if we're living in a world that's completely corrupt, okay, we're living in a world it's just extremely demonic. You can't raise your kids, okay? The family structure is completely just tore down to the floor. Okay, our oppressors are just, hey, listen, the oppression is just at an all-time high, man. You know, so you got to realize what is priority. And just because something presents itself, you getting more money come at you. You know what I'm saying? What do that mean? You got more money. That don't change nothing. You'll find the only thing it changes, you can pay your bills on time, and you can do a couple other things. The world is still the same. The devil is still a devil. Okay? Hey, listen, your people still being gunned down. So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the biblical Israelites. Okay? It's still happening. So you got to remember, man, where your mind is, okay, where your time is, you got to keep your eyes single and focused. Now, granted, bro, you got to find that balance point, man. Balance point. But I want to get last scripture, close it out. And, of course, spelled that wrong. Spelled it wrong again. Slovakia, my spelling is wrong. Let's get it. Slovakia, bear with me. Here we go. 6. It says, Matthew 6:19. This is straight out of the Lord's mouth, man. Red letter. It says, lay not up yourselves treasure upon earth. It says, with moth and rust do corrupt. It says, and where thieves break through and steal. Okay? Now, what thief we talking about? Who's the biggest thief on earth, man? Who got their hands in your pockets before you even got your hands in it? Okay? So-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. Okay? And the Lord is telling you, listen, you got to store up spiritual treasures. Okay? Where where moth and rust do not corrupt, where these Edomites, okay? The biblical Edomites, the archetype of the biblical Edomite is a so-called white person, predominant. And you do have our people scattered within all nations, including their nation. But their nation as a whole, they are the biblical Edomites. Okay? So the Lord is telling you, listen, it's not